Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I am going to start this series on my channel where I'm doing all the challenges because why not? But one of them is the map of stories, which is something that Leandra from TBR Zero has created, and it's this awesome monthly readathon type thing. So basically each month, it is January, so you start on number 1 and it says old growth forest, so historical fiction. You don't need to read historical fiction, but your 3 prompts are a historical setting, 1 or more people on the cover, and booktuber recommends. So I thought that I would make a video every month with different recommendations for this. Now, you do get bonus points if you actually use the genre, which is historical fiction for January, but it doesn't have to be historical fiction. So I went through and I have 12 books that I want to recommend. 12 books. I'm only picking books that I have personally read and loved. So you can count this as a booktuber recommends because I am a booktuber. Also, you can really find any book that you want on BookTube if you search. If you like, let me show you what I'm thinking for my TBR. Even though technically I haven't heard a booktuber talk about it yet, I'm sure if I type in the name of this book, which is The Dollhouse by Fiona Davis, then I can watch or read some reviews, and I'm going to go on BookTube and search this book and see if there's any booktubers that I see that have this book in a video, or maybe even a booktuber that I don't currently follow, and I can watch their review and go back and watch some of their other content. But I'm going to try to read The Dollhouse by Fiona Davis. This takes place in the 1950s, and you follow this woman who is a model that lives in New York City. So, historical setting, check. 1 or more people on the cover. She's on the cover, check. Booktuber recommends, not yet. But like I said, I'm going to go search this up before I read it and count that. Then, so all of these books have a historical setting and have at least 1 person on the cover. And I have 2 books that fit the historical fiction prompt as well. I'm not a huge historical fiction girly, so I didn't have a lot to recommend to you, but all of these books do have a historical setting, and I might even make an argument for some of them being historical fiction books. Most of them are classics. Some of them are mysteries, but they take place in the past. All right, let's start. So the first classic on this list is Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. It's a historical setting because it takes place in the 1950s. I believe it takes place in the 50s. Let's see when it was published. Oh, copyright 1952. Okay, there is 1 girl on the cover. But this has, I mean, if you've never read Charlotte's Web, but honestly, read Charlotte's Web. It's very short. You can read it in 1 day. And you follow Wilbur, who is a pig. And you follow Charlotte, who is a spider. And this is mainly just the story about Wilbur and Charlotte's friendship, and it just like has my entire heart. Then I read Kindred by Octavia E. Butler in 2025, and I will not shut up about this book, but this has two historical settings. The first one is present day in the book, which is 1979, and then our main character Dana is like transported to the 1800s, where she is seen as property because of her skin color and because she's a woman, and women weren't allowed to have thoughts in the 1800s. We weren't allowed to have a voice, and also because she has black skin, she was thought to be a slave. I would also argue that Kindred is a historical fiction. So it's like very much a slave horror novel with a sci-fi like time travel twist that never gets explained. But loved this book. Like, it destroyed me. And it's very disturbing. It's very atmospheric. Like, it was bad. But I loved it. Then we have Lord of the Flies by William Golding. This takes place during the Second World War. But it's not really about the war. It's, 1934. Okay. So, anyways, it's not about the war. It's about these boys that get lost on this island. Their plane crashes. They get stuck on an island. And it's very much a survival horror. But more than surviving where they're at, it's more about, like, what mankind will do to survive. How inhumane you will become if you are, like, thought if you need to. It's very inhumane, and the way they treat each other is gruesome. It's so gruesome. Okay, and another classic is Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. This takes place during the Great Depression. This follows George and Lenny, and George and Lenny are both on the cover. It's a powerful 100-page book about friendship. And what has become one of my favorite books of all time is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I believe this takes place in the 1930s. I might be wrong. Okay, it came out in 1960. So, it's a lot about, like, the racism down south. And this white male, Scout's dad, is the lawyer that is helping a man of color hopefully not get charged. I don't remember what his crime was. It was a very bad crime, though. And Scout just doesn't understand the hate in the world. So it's yet another, like, social commentary that needs to be talked about, that is gonna get under your skin, that's going to just make you so mad and also break your heart all at the same time. Then this is Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. We are changing the tone a little bit. This is my favorite Jane Austen book. And, yeah, she's like, it was so frowned upon for women to get an education or to write during the time that Jane Austen was alive. And this is, like, such a beautiful romance. Honestly, I think more Jane Austen stories are more like coming of age novels for the women in their novels with a romance subplot, but it's not like romance as we see today, but like we wouldn't be where we are today without Jane Austen. So I very much so enjoyed this. I could even make an argument for any Jane Austen book, but this one is full-heartedly my favorite. Now we're going to change tones again and go to horror novels. This is a horror novel that's set in the 80s, so is it historical? That's questionable. It depends on what your definition of historical is, but it is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. And like it looks like a VHS tape. So it's a horror novel about friendship. Abby and Gretchen are best friends. They're out during the summer at this lake, and something happens to Gretchen, I believe, and now she's starting to act differently. It's kind of like a possession story, but also, oh my god, what Abby does to help her friend, that's psycho. Okay, then we have a like mystery. This is The Silent Sister. Again, I think this one takes place in the 80s. So it depends on your definition of historical. I would question myself if it's historical fiction. Oh, okay, 90s. That's even worse. This takes place in the 90s. You have two timelines. One's in the 90s and one is current day. And you follow The Silent Sister by Diane Chamberlain. The Silent Sister, you get the 90s chapters where her sister is growing up, and her sister died in an accident when she was very young. So you follow when her sister was young, and you follow her now that she's like older teens, young 20s, and some family secrets come out. Then a historical, I would consider this historical fiction. It's definitely contemporary. It's Where the Red Fern Grows by Wilson Rawls. This is my favorite book of all time. And I say that I don't like historical fiction. I truly don't. But this follows Billy. And it's during the Great Depression in the South. In Kentucky? Kansas. Ooh. I don't remember where they are, but I believe that they are down south somewhere. You follow Billy as he's growing up during the Great Depression. His family doesn't have much because, it's the Great Depression. Nobody had a lot. So, like, a hound that would go hunting with him. And his family was like, well, we'd love that, but we can't afford it. I'm sorry, Billy. Sorry, Billy. It's not going to happen. So for 2 years, he took all the odd jobs. He worked at his grandpa's store. He did everything that he could, and every penny that he made, he saved so that he could get his coonhounds. And he ended up getting 2 of them instead of 1. And there's Old Dan and Little Ann. And oh my gosh, this is such a beautiful story of friendship. Then, these last 2 are my actual historical fiction. So you would get the bonus. I would argue that you would get the historical fiction bonus for reading Where the Red Fern Grows too. And if Leandra disagrees. No, I'm just kidding. But this is The Lost Girls of Willowbrook by Ellen Marie Wiseman. See, so you only see her feet, but if you look in the puddle, you can see her too. This follows Sage, who her sister died 6 years ago. Her sister Rosemary. And then her mom, I think, recently died. And all Sage has is her abusive stepfather. And one day when she's going down the stairs, she heard her stepdad saying something on the phone about, well, I don't want to go visit Rosemary. Nobody in the family loves her. Some like that. And that starts an investigation into what really happened to her sister, because to her knowledge, her sister's dead. Okay, because it takes place in 1971 in the Staten Island bus station in Willowbrook, which was a school for girls, like a mental health school for girls. And if you read this, I dare you to actually investigate, like research some of the stuff that actually happened at Willowbrook, because my mind was blown. I went on a deep dive. It was wonderful. I love this book. This is one of my favorite books. It's a mystery. I would even say it's a thriller, although it's more of a slow burn thriller for the first 70% of this book. But when everything comes together. And the last one is The Help by Catherine Stockett. This is a movie as well, based on the book, but this book is so good. So this takes place in August 1962. I'm just gonna read the first line. Abilene Clark is a black maid in 1962 Jackson, Mississippi, raising her 17th white child. Obviously, it takes place in the South in the 60s when racism was still a hot thing, a big thing. And at the core of this is the friendship between Skeeter and all of the maids in this wealthy small town, Jackson, Mississippi. And Skeeter has gone away. She's a white kid who has gone away to university to study writing. And she comes back with the intent to become a journalist. And so she starts interviewing all of the maids who are colored. And she kind of starts writing about the difference in being white and being black, and like there are some very hot button issues in this book, and I enjoyed this way more than I thought I would. So I hope that if you are taking part in this map of stories that Leandra has put on, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to my channel if you're new around here, and if you have any recommendations, let me know. But these were my recommendations for you in that reading challenge, and I will see you in the next video.